Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting.
Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize. Welcome, my loves. It's Rosalind Fung here. I am so excited about today's episode, which is called How to Fall Back in Love with Your Life. And if you've been following for a while, and also maybe you haven't and you're new to me, my special guest, my soul brother, is no stranger to many of us here. He is Randy Spelling. We'll do more of a formal introduction to Randy in a bit here. Randy's been on my podcast already, and this is we'll say third time. The second time, there was just too much interference, right, Randy?
Yeah.
So the spirit guys will support us in technology coming through today. Yes. But let me ask you, audience, these questions. Because, I love asking questions so that you can reflect on yourself. Where have you fallen out of love in your life and with your life? There are aspects of our lives that we're not completely fulfilled, content with. Where might that be for you? And I invite you to notice. Please have no judgment. Just witness it. Today we're going to jam on how to get back in love with these areas of your life. Randy's going to share some amazing golden nuggets are going to come through. I know it. And how to be more intentional in your life, how you can set yourself free from negative thoughts, beliefs, and patterns, habits, and really create a deeper transformation in your life. So we're going to move through these pillars of love, intention, freedom, and transformation. And Randy's going to define those a little bit more and walk you through this. So welcome, Randy. I'm so happy you're here. Let me share a little bit about who Randy is if he's new to you. Randy is an author, speaker, intuitive coach, and consultant, and the head of Randy Spelling Coaching. Growing up in one of Hollywood's most famous families, you may remember Aaron Spelling 90210. That's his father. He witnessed firsthand that money and fame do not create freedom or happiness. And you guys can listen to that episode where Randy actually talks more about his own personal journey to be who he is today. So that'll be tagged in the show notes. And he discovered that our daily choices create our happiness. Using his natural abilities and 13 years of coaching experience, and by the way, Randy's very, very intuitive. He helps people see the choices they didn't realize they had so that they can create more freedom, success, presence, and happiness in their lives. So welcome back, Randy. I'm so happy to have you here, love.
I'm always so happy to be here. I look forward to these. I get to talk to Roz.
Too.
Even when we chat through, Instagram or whatever, when I see one of your messages, I get excited. What is she going to say?
Aww.
What energy is coming through?
Ditto. Well, and I feel like that's like a true testament to energy. And, I have no doubt that we've had past lives together and have created something huge together. We should tap into that for our own time. Be cautious. But it's so cool. Like Randy and I did meet because we were both speakers at a summit. And so thanks to that, I give him a shout out as one of the speakers, and then we immediately started talking. It was like, I feel like Randy was like soul remembrance, and all of a sudden we're like chatting like we've already known each other for years.
Yeah, we were sending messages back and forth, and it just felt so normal and familiar to talk to you.
So amazing. So
Yeah.
amazing. So this show is about you sharing your expertise. Can you share a little bit about, for those who are like with the clients with your tribe, you've been really noticing people have been falling out of love in areas of their life.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I'm sure you've seen this too, right? Life, I mean, you have the pandemic and everything else happening in the world and just the whole swirl of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And while that's happening, you know, people are sitting on the couch more. They get in this Netflix rut. They start to binge this or consume more of this. They don't exercise as much. Maybe they had a morning routine. They don't have a morning routine anymore. I think
Mm-hmm.
relationships heavily suffered. And so, life is busy. So people are going through the rat race as best they can. It's really easy to fall into these dull, monotonous rhythms that have no newness, no, what's that term? Joie de vivre, no sparkle.
Yeah.
And, I think our life is very similar to a relationship, but we don't look at it like that. We look at, well, I'm just in it and I'm living it. Relationship, if it's not going well, you know,
You know, you
right? You know.
totally know.
You know, but where have we fallen out of love in our lives? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it in your relationship? Is it in your job and you're doing it, but it just feels that you're going through the motions? And
Got it.
so, yeah, I just think this is a really ripe area to
Mhm.
start to look at where is the spark diminished?
Mm.
Are you looking at your life going, well, I guess I just
Mhm.
accept this is it. This is the way it is. And I think in the self-help spiritual community, there's this term of acceptance,
Yeah.
right? Have to accept something. Otherwise, we can suffer. But where does acceptance become complacency?
Mm.
Where does it become inaction? Where does it become dull? So I think we need to
I
look at those.
feel like now I'm just tuning in, and my sense is there's some people who are like, but what does falling in love even feel like in
Mm.
with aspects of my life? Like what would it feel like to fall in love with my health, with my body, with my, we all know what it feels like to, well, maybe that's not true, but many of us know what it feels like to fall in love with somebody. I think most of us have experienced falling in love with somebody. But like, what does that mean, Randy, in terms of like aspects of your life? How do we feel when we're totally in love with different aspects other than a relationship?
It's a great question and great tuning in. So I'm gonna tune in, and while you were tuning in, me tuning in, this is what came
This is
up.
why I love you.
I'm like, oh, she's gonna go there. I'm gonna go there too.
Totally.
Touche. We know what longing for feels like.
Mm-hmm.
We all longed as children, right? There's a longing for a better relationship with a parent. There's a longing for more playtime. There's a longing for those pair of shoes, or
Yes.
have better friendships, or to fit in. If you don't fit in, there's a longing. And I think if
Mm-hmm.
you have felt a longing for, that's actually a good sign, because it means there's something there waiting for you yet to be discovered and
Mm-hmm.
experienced. So for those who don't have a reference point of this incredible head over heels in love feeling, look at what you long for, and that feeling, that belly feeling, that angst, you could literally feel it in your body, like, oh, I want that. On the flip side, being in love, that's being quenched. You feel that, for better or worse. you get a little bit high. And I think
Yeah.
as a business owner, I long for clients. I long for six figures.
Yeah.
When you get that, it's good.
Yeah.
And then you have to ride the wave. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm high. Everything's going really well. I thought it was going well. What happened?
Mm.
Right. So
And
it's,
so can I interrupt and ask a question right
yeah,
there? Is is it that falling in love means we're falling in love with the process even when we're in the downs, we're still like in that sense of I'm still in love here, even though it's not desirable, but like there's does that make sense? Am I
yeah, it
yeah?
does. It does make sense. I don't know necessarily about that. I think when people are really in a down, it's hard to be as in love.
Yeah.
But if there are enough good things that you have built, so for instance,
Mm,
for me, I feel so good in my life on a daily basis. Sure, hard things come up, but there's
mhm,
enough other things that sustain me enough where those down times feel very short-lived and minimal. So
mhm.
I can crash on the wave and come
Yeah.
back up for air and go, wow, this ocean's spectacular. So I think that's more what it's like is there's enough you love your life enough and you set up different areas enough to where, if your health is really good, if you have your physical exercise and you are
Mhm.
fed by that, or
Yeah.
if you're meditating, or if your relationship now you've communicated the things that you haven't communicated that are making you withdraw and put up a wall and not feel good,
Yeah.
when that's happening, then you have enough love to sustain
Mhm.
the out of love
Mhm.
there.
I really love looking at that way because it's like it's I mean, there's no such thing as perfect, but it's a very holistic view, right? If we were to take the life wheel, right, with all the different sections of our life, and we were to look at, 8 out of, let's say, 10 areas of my life, I'm feeling pretty good about. Like, I feel pretty content. I feel pretty fulfilled. You might even be having some soulgasms in those areas. Um, and perhaps even if two of those areas aren't exactly where you want to be yet, you're still, I'm hearing like cushioned would maybe the word, with still being in love with your life, even if there's areas that are not where you want to be yet.
Exactly. And to answer your question, to add one thing to being in love, there's movement
Hmm.
there. So when you're not in love, there's no momentum carrying you, there's no movement. So if anyone listening to this wants to tune in, where in your life do you feel that there's no movement, that you're stuck, or there's just a stagnation, there's not any fresh air, you're
Hmm.
not moving, that is a great place to focus, to look at, oh, okay, that's an area that I can focus on because it just feels rote and a little bit stagnant.
Would you also agree that what's really important, and I'm going to speak from my own personal experience, is that we need to be connected more to our purpose, our why in our life? Because I really like, from my perspective, and is that purpose is your why is your why across all aspects of your life. It's the same why in business. It might like come out differently, but like it's the root of it. And I would say personally for me, when I struggled with food and body image, I wanted this quote unquote perfect fitness model physique. But like once I achieved it, and then I will also say this, like hearing and talking to other six-figure, multi-six-figure, seven-figure business owners, once they've achieved this, deep down inside, they don't feel fulfilled. I
That's right.
definitely felt empty when I achieved this perfect quote unquote fitness model physique. This was way back in 2008, what started my spiritual awakening. Um, and I felt empty. And so for me, Randy, I really feel like it's important to be connected to a deeper purpose first so that we can really understand why it is that we want what we want. And that will support us in falling in love with our life.
Absolutely. Right. It's the goal underneath the goal.
Yeah.
It's the business owner who wants 6 figures, but what's the feeling and what's the purpose? If those are missing, then it becomes an object of affection, an object of achievement to get to the finish line. But it's the same thing as the Buddhist proverb. I think it's a Buddhist proverb that says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And we get so hung up on the finish line that it's a when then. When I have that, million
perfect body, the money, whatever it is.
Money. When I have $1 million, when
A
I have
title.
10 million, I won't be stressed anymore. I will feel free. I'll be happy. And then it becomes the object of affection. And those people who get that, sure, does it make a difference in their lives? Absolutely, right? So I'm a realist. It's going to give you more choice. It's going to give you some more freedom for choice. Does it make you happy? No, it doesn't. Right? The body image, let me get this physique, it can do things for you to help with confidence or self-esteem. But if the inner world, if the purpose, if the meaning, if the feeling isn't there and worked on, it is this empty goal. It's that roadrunner carrot where the roadrunner takes it and just dangles it far enough, and then he runs and goes off the cliff and looks down and looks up and then falls.
Yeah, it's like, for me personally, it was like I criticized myself into achieving the perfect body. So at no point in my journey did I start to love myself. I was confident, and confidence is related to our abilities, but I had very little self-worth. I didn't see value in myself because I was so focused on the external validation from others and the external things of like my physique, and my titles and all that, like that, because I realized in my awakening, I unconsciously was operating from this belief that I'm valued in my doingness. So my performance, my titles, my achievements, how much money I was making, rather than my beingness. And I felt like my doingness was never enough. And so I feel like so many people can relate with that struggle.
Absolutely.
We're never in the happiness then.
Right. I mean, it's always just a little bit a ways, right? Away. That's what I meant. It's, it's sort of, again, it's that moving target, and purpose is not a moving target. Purpose is an unfolding process. Same target, but it unfolds in time. Versus these goals, we're always going to have goals. We're always, as human beings, and we speak the same language here, there's always going to be something more. That's human nature. That's how we've evolved from cavemen women days to now.
Yes.
Right. So that's normal. But in terms of awakening, enlightenment, realization, whatever process you want to call that, that is inside. And that is not chasing a dangling carrot outside of you. That's pulling carrots up from the root.
Yes. Oh, so many like golden nuggets right there. Oh my goodness. So
now I want a carrot.
You're healthy. So then, Robbie, when your clients, I know you take them through a pillar, so I'm curious if we can start talking about those pillars, and how you walk your clients through these pillars to fall back in love with their life.
Yeah, so I have a coaching program called Lift, and the 4 pillars of Lift, it's taking someone from where they are up to where they want to be. Is it the end all be all? No, but I think, in having done this work for 15 years now, transformation isn't A to Z. Transformation is A to M or O or P, because again, there's always going to be more. And I think so many of us, me included for so long, There's always, is it now? Is it now? When can I be done with this? When can I be over some of the themes in my life?
When will I get there?
Right?
It's taking so long.
Exactly. So this is really meant to go from A to M. And these 4 pillars of lift are love, intention, freedom, transformation. So we could start with love. Very simply, let's look at where you've fallen out of love with life. We look at the various components of your life. We identify where that is, what's going on, why you're feeling that way. And then the fun part is how to adjust, how to add things in so that you can start falling back. For some, it's not back in love, it's in love.
First time in love with
First
your life.
time.
Yes, I imagine.
And I guess,
yes.
Back could be before the body, because at that point, we probably were in love, right? Because we are love. So it is a reawakening, a remembrance back to spirit, soul, self.
Powerful. And so can you give some maybe concrete examples of like how does one, and I don't know if you want to share like a client example or a theme that you often notice, but like what is an example of a struggle where somebody's fallen out with what part of their life, and then what can they bring in to support themselves to start to be in love with their life?
Yeah, so I had a client who wanted to up level their career. I mean, these were their words. They felt they kind of hit the ceiling. They've done okay, right? I mean, compared to where they were 3 years ago, they've done all right.
Yeah.
And well for themselves, right? They have some things. They've really gone past the benchmark that they set a few years prior, but they feel that they're at the ceiling and work is just, it's okay. They had an exercise routine that they really loved that was feeding them, weren't doing it anymore. They had some familial relationships which were a little bit strained. There was some resentment, some things that have built up, and they wanted to change their living situation. So all those things. And it just felt that they were going through the motions. So very quickly.
And you mentioned they were super stressed because of all these different aspects of transitions in their life.
Yeah. Stress.
I find like, and I'm just checking in first. So like, just because like a lot of people, in my tribe, they often feel like they're like, oh my God, I can't prioritize. I've got this going on, and everything seems really important. Is that the same case here?
Yeah, so typically, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were as much in the place of prioritizing as much as some other people. But for this example, not as much. Normally, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So
covering all bases.
But so we looked at boundaries and healing. What did she need to heal? What were the boundaries that weren't being set? Because that was in the way of feeling clean and feeling clear. And these things were building up that were causing this stuckness, numbness. That actually happened very quickly. And then once that happened, all these other things started to come up in a good way as a result. So she started to fall back in love and be grateful for the relationships in her family. And she started to love herself more. This then changed to waking up earlier, making herself a little bit uncomfortable in a good way so that she could follow through with her exercise routines and change some things. And then out of the blue, this is unheard of, where she was living. I won't say locations, but it was a in demand, very high priced city.
Yes.
A living situation came to her. She went to meet, and they offered it to her, and it was unheard of. This doesn't exist within the city.
Wow. Like in terms of how quick it happened, or in terms of the amount?
In terms of the amount, the cost
Got
was
it.
half as much as it would normally be.
Wow.
um she had to wait to get out of her situation, and the person was completely willing, because
Great.
they had liked her and said, you know what, I don't even want to interview other people. I'm just going to do this, no contract, no anything. Went on good faith, and she couldn't believe it. She literally said, I this can't happen. And then she was freaking out and nervous and stressed that it wasn't going to happen and it wasn't going to go through. So then we looked at the deserving piece and falling back in love with self. Can you love yourself enough to see that this could happen for you? Could you love yourself enough to know that the universe could bring this to you? Haven't you seen this before, where something seems too good, or it feels too good? You're like, nope.
It's hilarious. As you're talking about this literally just happened for me as well. Like, we're in process as you and I recording this. Literally, Den and I were on a date on last Friday. We said, because we were on to manifest our new next space here in Kelowna, British Columbia, because we are renting right now. We'll continue to rent. We are originally, so for those of you who don't know, we're originally from Edmonton, Alberta, and we still have property there. We turned our home to an Airbnb so that we could be here in Kelowna, experience and experiment with life, and continue growing and expanding our life, and not falling back in love with, but continue falling in love with our life. Yeah. And so literally I said to the universe with my husband, I'm like, okay, let's manifest this. We want these specific things. And then literally the next day, the second rental ad we were looking at, and better. And the rent, what I already asked the universe, I want it to be, because it's one of the most expensive places to live here in Canada. And I said, the rent needs to be like, I'm stretching. I'm going to ask the universe for this. It was like $300 below what I asked for. Unheard of. And it was better because it was right by a beach. It had like a community pool. Like, it was just extras on top. And we're both like, wow, that was fast. And my husband's more left brain than spiritual woo. So he's just like, how's this happening? I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right.
But I love what you said about the deserving, because I can even see it as working with my clients. Sometimes it's like, holy shit, I landed this client, and like, oh my God, all of a sudden it was like, I don't deserve, like, the receiving and the accepting of this dream client actually came in, and not feeling worthy enough, all the imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, like, what am I gonna, like, I don't know. And I've been here myself, like when I first started my business, and then you just kind of sabotage it because you get so anxious, right? So yes. I love that you really help them see that piece of, okay, this is a deserving issue, and so let's shift that into knowing you are deserving of this and embodying that. That's huge.
That's the transformational piece to all of this work. Right? Goals are great, and of course I want to partner with people to get the goals that they want to have those things. But what keeps me passionate and alive and in love with what I do is the goal underneath the goal. I received a letter from a client the other day. I don't always receive letters or gifts or anything. They did send me a gift of avocados, which was unbelievable. It was the best gift ever. Like, I had a box of avocados.
Clearly you love it. I now know that now.
I love avocados. It's my island food. If someone says, what kind of fruit or something would you have? Say, you know what, Ross? I am so sorry. Let me turn off. I forgot to.
That's okay. You know what? Why don't we actually just pause here? We'll go into commercial, and when we come back, you can continue your story and continue sharing about the pillars.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Om Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
Are you feeling maxed out working one-on-one with clients and you're deeply desiring to scale your business for more time freedom without sacrificing your income, but rather expanding it? Many of my clients who are light workers, healers, practitioners, and even coaches, they're often multi-modality, are coming to me because they are sick and tired of working with clients on a one-off session model where the clients are coming in on an as-need basis. Or if they're selling packages, they are selling them in the sense of buy 5, get 1 free, or the greater the number of sessions, the greater the discount. The problem with this is it's still a dollar for hours business model. And so that leaves the practitioner feeling really exhausted and overwhelmed from having to put so much time, effort, and energy in finding new clients that they're not operating in their most elevated self with their current clients. And so if this is you, I would love to share with you that it's time to elevate your business and scale it to sell high ticket one-on-one programs or even group programs. This will allow you to have more deeper impacts because you're raising your clients' results, you're scaling your business, and you're having that time freedom you deeply are yearning for. If this is resonating with you, love, I'd love to invite you to come on a soul business alignment call with me so that you can stop feeling like you're on this roller coaster ride and start to feel safe and stable and even having fun in your business and your finances. Please go to electrifymybusiness.com to apply and we'll hop on a call. I can't wait to connect.
If I could be you and you could be me for just 1 hour, if we could find a way to get inside each other's minds, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
All right. Hello. Welcome back, love. So, Randy, you were just sharing about your avocado story. Left us on a cliffhanger. So,
yes. So, avocados. So she sent me a note and said something's in the mail, which were avocados. But she said working with you was just, she used these words, right? Like enlightening and heart opening. She said, I feel like I'm finally home. And to me, I literally got teary-eyed reading that because that is the goal underneath the goal, is if someone can love themselves, that's the biggest part of personal development and self-help is loving yourself. But sometimes that feels so nebulous. It's like, well, I don't know what that feels like. How do I love myself? And to be able to start to feel, even if there's small amounts of, love myself, or I like who I am, or I like where I am in life. That's it.
You and I have the same mission. Absolutely. Helping others come home to themselves, whether it's, even me as a business soul coach, it's like,
Yeah.
you and I both know, like, building a business and growing a business, scaling it is a one big personal and spiritual developmental journey. So it doesn't matter what the, we'll say, area of our life is. It's just like how we do one part of our life is how we do all parts of our life. So just, I love hearing how your client deeply came home to herself. Like, that is everything. She now knows her worth. She now knows how she deserves what she desires, and that she's manifesting that in. That's incredible. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank
I love
you.
that. And so what is the next? So lift was the first part of your pillar.
So love was the first part.
Sorry, but yes. Lift
That's
is
the L. That's
love.
the L
Thank
for
you.
the acronym. And then the I is intention.
Mm.
So I would say this is the boundary portion. This is the mindfulness portion. This is the purpose portion. And it's, are you being intentional with your time? Are you being intentional with your words? Are you being intentional with your thoughts? And a good concrete example, because I know you like those.
Yes, my audience love those.
Yes, is something called conscious transitions. So when you are about to leave your car and go into work, do you just grab your purse or coffee and whatever and just go in thinking of whatever it is you're thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you take a moment and do you set an intention? Do you set a goal or a reference point of a radio station for the frequency of what you want to tune into when you go to that meeting, or when you go to work, or whether you're going to meet a friend or walk into your family for the day after work? What is that intention? And, again, this is like a big part of personal development, is being intentional and being intentional, but it's the daily intentionality, right? How am I showing up to this conversation with you? So truth be told, we're going away for spring break to the coast tomorrow. And, we're going away for almost 2 weeks. So there's so many groceries and so many things. My house looks, like a complete storm hit it. But I'm running around the different stores, getting all of these different things. And so I was running around, putting stuff away right when I came home, because I had a 2-hour period before having this meeting with you. And once I got on here, I took 2.5 minutes. There was beautiful music, by the way, on hold. And I set an intention for what I wanted, and collected all the parts of me that were running around buying groceries and different things, and came right here into the moment. Otherwise, I'm a hot mess, right? I'm searching for romaine leaves and whatever while I'm talking to you.
Thank you for setting the intention in your own sacred space. Yeah. And even, we've been recording, I've been recording back to back. So, but typically you and I already started our intention through our messages with each other. And with every episode, I typically set intentions, because you and I already set that energetic intention, but every episode I set an intention with my guests to really call in the sacred space and what it is that we want to really have delivered on this episode, and how we want to show up. So I love that you're pointing out the importance of intention, that every moment we can be absolutely as intentional as possible. Now, we're human. That doesn't always happen.
Absolutely. But it's amazing how intention / purpose, you use the term the why, it can cut through not wanting to go to a party or a gathering or something that you feel you have to do.
Yes.
Right? And then we're having to go to something, versus, why am I going? I don't have to do anything. What's the purpose? What am I here to do? And if you can just get that crystal clear, that whole experience changes because you have clarified that.
And I feel like this is where, and tell me if this is the pillar where you work on this, but there's so many people who struggle with saying no. Like if it's like the people pleasing part, right? It's just like, yeah, but I'm gonna let somebody down. Somebody's gonna get mad at me, or this is just gonna make me look bad, or I just don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So I'm gonna say yes, even when I really don't mean it. And so I'm wondering if this is the pillar where you speak to this.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this goes along with boundaries.
Yes.
Right? And so much boundaries. So often the connotation around boundaries is stop, don't cross this line. And I think boundaries can contain that. There are times where you do that, but there are other times that you're getting your own boundary and understanding that, so you can say to a partner, a friend, a coworker, a family member, you know what I really need right now? I appreciate all your solutions and I know it's coming from a good place. I appreciate it. I think I really just need someone to listen. Are you able to do that? Just be here with me. Is that possible? As opposed to getting the solutions, feeling super frustrated. And the story goes, they never listened to me. They were always trying to fix everything. Don't you think I've already thought of that? Of course I have. And it becomes this rub versus this beautiful thing that could happen. So boundaries is really for self, and understanding what it is you need. And to use your example, if you need to stay home, even if it's gonna let somebody down, if you understand that you're only saying yes because you're scared to let someone down or you feel bad or guilty, communicate that. Yes. Hey, I'm so sorry. I care about you. I love you. I really don't want to let you down. I'm nervous and I'm scared that you're going to be angry with me. But I have to listen to myself. I'm too tired. I'm burnt out right now. And I need a night to take a bath and read a book and just chill.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you gave the exact script. And that's like so important to be able to honor where we're at, share our fear. So this is the taking risks and being courageous. But we need to do that so the other person doesn't take it as much as possible personal. But it's like, this is where I'm at. And it's like my full on giving myself like that voice, speaking my truth in that moment. Like that's so important. And like for me, it's really important to create those win-win situations, but in the same, and sometimes that's what the win-win is. Like if the partner can really understand, like, wow, like I don't want you to burn out. Thank you so much for caring about me, that you would be willing to like come with me, but you're also like now, like really honoring your own boundaries. Great. I'll go to a party knowing that, that you care about me and I'll keep going. I'll go there and you stay home. That's a win-win. It's incredible.
Exactly. Absolutely a win-win. And I'm sure you've seen this too, Roz. It's even though as a society, we're not used to saying, giving these boundaries and communicating these boundaries.
Yes.
I've seen this over and over and over again where a client has spoken up, they've been scared to do it, but they start to empower themselves and get in touch with this ability to do that. And the wildest thing happens because they start to shift and they're taking care of themselves. Not always, but sometimes the person who was it's impossible that they're going to ever change starts to change a little bit because you give them unspoken permission to do that themselves. And what would happen as a society if we all were kind and empathetic, right? I think that's important. Yeah. But with empathy, communicated our needs to each other. Resentment. We wouldn't have built up anger. We wouldn't have, these stories in our head because everyone is actually good at walking around and caring for themselves. So there's less need for other people to have to care for them in a certain way.
Absolutely. That I think I really know that that's the power of when we show up, really like in our courage to honor our yes in ourselves, then the ripple effects happens, and it may not be immediate, but eventually it's contagious. So yes, beautiful. What's the next pillar?
Freedom. And I'll make this really short and sweet. There are things that are usurping your freedom, right? They're stealing it, taking it away. And so we look at what is causing you to feel less free. That could be stress. It could be worry. It could be negative thinking. It could be too many what ifs. It could be lost in thought, where we sort of think, oh, artist and we're a dreamer and that's magical. Most of the time when we're lost in thought, we're lost in playing out a future moment that hasn't happened yet and potentially won't. But we are looking at, how do I stop that from happening? So
would this also be like feeling like you don't have enough money?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I used to, can I share a quick little story with you?
Yeah, of course.
So this might sound crazy coming from where I came from, but I had an incredible lack mentality. So much so that I would drive by freeway underpasses and always look at, if I was homeless and if I didn't have any money, that's the area where I would go. And I would imagine that and play that out for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. What would would I have a sleeping bag? Would I have a tarp? And that was just there. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it. Years later, when I had to, do some inner work and look at this, and I thought, seems crazy coming from where I came from and looking at how I would survive being homeless.
Was that when, and again, you guys can refer to my first episode with Randy. We'll tag it in the show notes. Was that while you were having addictions, or was that before? Was that after?
That was before it started. I remember on the way to high school thinking, and I didn't give it much thought. It was just something that my mind would do unconsciously. And then in my 20s, and later when I was out of the addiction phase, I realized, whoa, why am I doing that? Why am I spending time imagining something I would really never want to have happen? That this is a supercomputer. Why would I program that in and then use my imagination to even attempt to see, visualize, create something that I wouldn't want? That seems a little bit silly.
And yet it's so real, because I'll relate it back to business as well. Like I have peers who are multi-6, 7, 8-figure peers, and that lack mentality is real. Whether it's in the self-worth bank, or it's in the money relationship with money and money mindset, like that's all real. It doesn't matter how much money is actually coming in for them in their business. That still can be such a huge thing. I know millionaires who still have that. So it's not about how much money, like freedom is an inside job as well, is what I'm hearing, Randy.
It's an inside job. And before everyone thinks, oh my gosh, that sounds so big, not using your cell phone as much, right? Eating better food, or watching less news. Just a few things, you would be so surprised how much more free you feel when not doing some of those things. It depends on the person. But again, we quickly look at, what is it? What's going on here that is stealing some of your freedom? Let's create more bandwidth. Let's create more capacity for you to be all of who you're here to be. And this is where the rub is, Roz, and I know you see this too.
Yeah.
The spiritual concept of be all of who you're here to be and be this bright, shining light. But yet people can't expand their capacity to be that. Their capacity feels this big, and who they are is this big.
Yeah.
That's a disconnect.
Yes. And so can you define what freedom is
Can I define what freedom is?
Mm-hmm.
That was such a powerful pause. I didn't know
I
what
was like, are we frozen?
I didn't know if it froze. Can I define what freedom is?
Like when you are coaching your clients, I mean, obviously freedom is subjective, but is freedom like that feeling of building your capacity, or like is freedom like, oh my God, like is freedom from the toxic? Because freedom is so like, there's so many different definitions. So how does Randy Spelling define freedom to support his clients to illustrate it in their life?
I would say one of the biggest ways to feel free is to realize the choice that you have.
Right. So freedom is about having choices.
Yes, because why do people want more money?
Mm-hmm.
To have more choices.
Absolutely. It's a tool. It's energy.
Exactly. So when you realize that you have a choice, then you can go one way or another or a completely different way. But so many times we are unconscious in our lives. We don't even realize that we have a choice. The have to's. I have to do this. I have to do that. If I don't do that, and we're operating from a reactive place of have to versus an active place of choosing. I am consciously choosing, like putting some CCs in the drip of the needle and shooting in the conscious choice. I'm going to consciously choose this.
And you know, I would say, like, I'll bring it back to the life area of being in a relationship. Those who struggle with attracting the same kind of partner that doesn't bring you fulfillment is because, you know, you're unconsciously choosing these partners because there's wounding that's choosing these partners. And so, of course, I say that without judgment. I mean, that we're all human. But then when we do the inner work and our deservingness and our boundaries and knowing what we truly want, we choose consciously different partners. And we're like, oh, red flag, not this person. I'm going to choose this. This person is different. This is uncomfortable, but this is also what I've been asking for. And it's the deserving piece that is like receiving, like allowing yourself to receive this kind of relationship.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful. So, Randy, we're going to move into a very short meditation, but I'm curious. Did we talk about the last one? Lift, the T transformation.
Yeah, just transformation. I mean, to me, that's the spiritual connection. That's tying it all together, all of the pieces to really start to make it an embodied sense of spirit. It's like bringing spirit into now and loving your life, feeling more free, being intentional so that you can feel transformative.
That is powerful. And embodiment is, to me, one of the sexiest words. When we embody what it is that we desire, and we really do bring it in. So how can people get a hold of you, connect with you? It'll be in the show notes, but what's the best way right now if they want to potentially jump into this program?
The easiest way is my website, randyspelling.com. You can also follow me on my social channels. I'm on Instagram a lot. So Instagram is Randy Spelling and Facebook, Randy Spelling Coaching.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Randy, for being here. I'm just going to start closing here with a meditation for those of you who are just tuning in, just breathing in and feeling into what is the most juicy point for you that's really resonating with you. Just breathing that in. Breathing in this insight, breathing in this golden nugget. Bring it home into your heart. And just notice the sensations in your body as you're breathing in this golden nugget. It may be awakening something, maybe expanding your possibilities. It might be opening new doors for you, new ideas, new ways to be, do, and have. So just breathing that in, breathing it in, breathe it in. I'm just going to drop in some light codes here. Mora kura tia sira kura tinera kia sara kura tia simoro kura tinera kia anira kia suru kura tinera kura kia sira kura tia. Clearing anything that's not in service to you and your vision, your happiness, your loving, your life. Morakia Soroku, aligning, balancing, recalibrating. Morakia Sorokurati Noroku, love in your life. Morakurati Nerakurati, breathing in. And then rooting it in your breath as you anchor in, breathing back into your heart space. Breathing into Mother Earth, rooting down your soul's essence, planting these seeds. Feeling into possibilities of falling in love with your life or falling back into love with all areas of your life. And so it is. Just regulating your breath. Beautiful. Thank you so much, loves, for being here. Thank you, Randy. If you enjoyed this episode, my loves, please do give this a shout out. You can tag me on Instagram at Bold Sexy Warrior and Randy at Randy Spelling. And we so appreciate you tuning in. Thanks, Randy. Mwah.
Thank you. So good to see you, Roz.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.